So there's some pretty bad news coming out now. There's a brand new game that's destroying Nvidia RTX GPUs. Let's talk about which game it is, which GPUs it's affecting, and what you can do about it. Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Technology here. Remember to subscribe and smash that like button. If it's not GPU shortages, it's something like this with GPUs flat out not working. Now, I'm sure you guys may have seen recently, there's a very specific game that seems to be destroying Nvidia RTX GPUs. This is definitely not the news you want to hear after you've spent literally thousands of dollars on the new GPU, not to mention really having to go out of your way to get it. You want to play this new game? Well, it's probably bad news. So first, what game is causing all of the stir? This game is one actually by Amazon. I guess they have like a game studio now. It's called New World. And this game recently was in alpha, and it appears to be in the beta stage. Now, an important note about this is that in alpha, I think people also had this problem, and when it got to beta, for some reason, it seems like the problem blew up, no pun intended, and it started affecting more and more GPUs across the board. Now, if this was a problem in alpha, even if it was just limited to certain people, I think they should have never brought this game out to a wider audience, because that's just going to make the issue considerably worse. But that we can talk about later. So exactly which GPU is it affecting? Is it all of them? Well, no. For now, the only one that it's actually affecting is the RTX 3090. Now, that's either good news or bad news for you. If you happen to own an RTX 3090, an insanely expensive GPU, definitely not a very fun day. And if you happen to be one of the people that probably don't even have a 3090, then, well, listen up anyway, because who knows if this may affect the 3080 or even other GPUs in the future. Right now, no evidence of that. It's only the RTX 3090. Now, I'm not going to go into a deep dive as exactly to what's occurring because it's so new, and this actually seems very, very familiar. If you guys remember last year when the 3080 and 3090 came out, if they reached a certain frequency, the RTX 3080 and 3090 were having various problems. People were talking about the VRAM and they were talking about the capacitors. There were all these theories. Some were correct, some were wrong. At the end of the day, there was a driver update and Nvidia sort of fixed that issue. So instead of saying exactly what it is, because we really don't know now and I don't want to get it wrong, I want to make sure that we know the full story. Basically, what appears to be happening is that the frames per second seems to be getting a little bit out of control in this game. It doesn't seem to be capped, and that's causing some weird situation with the RTX 3090. Maybe it's using just way too much power, and some people even hear a pop or something like that, and the GPU flat out dies. Now, another interesting addendum to this, even though it's likely unrelated, it seems like a lot of these are actually the EVGA for the Win 3 GPUs. I did a video a few months back where my for the Win 3 RTX 3090 actually died. I had two of these die just playing regular games. But in the past, the EVGA 3090 for the Win 3 did have a lot of issues, especially the RTX 3090. A lot of viewers that saw that video relayed to me that they also had to RMA their GPU. Now, a few positive notes here. EVGA has always been great about RMAs. The two that I had that they had to RMA, they gave me pretty much no issues at all. I just described the problem. I got working GPUs back. I still have, a for the Win 3 3090 that's working perfectly now. I guess maybe they updated the PCB or maybe I just got lucky and nothing has happened. And I also haven't played this new Amazon game, which I definitely do not want to touch with an RTX 3090. And then a second note, it's not only the for the Win 3 GPUs that it's affecting. There are reports of other brands as well of 3090s that are also affected. I think the for the Win 3 is just a very popular GPU. A lot of times when you go to like a store or online, they seem to be the ones most widely available in terms of the RTX 3090. So I just think there are more of them out in the wild, but it is an interesting little coincidence that I've also and other people have had issues with the for the Win 3 3090. Could be a completely unrelated issue. So this is definitely something that if you have an RTX 3090, at least for now, I would say the best solution is don't even touch that game. Like uninstall it. don't play that game, because I don't think they know fully well what's going on. Who knows if it's a defect maybe in the GPU itself that's just been sort of revealed by something in this game that's pushing the boundaries. Who knows that it may even be something in the driver that's causing this, or something in the game engine itself. So I would say if you have an RTX 3090, I would just uninstall the game. I don't want to run the risk of ruining such an expensive GPU over a game that's still in beta. Now, some people have said that possible workarounds are to try and limit the frames per second, such as doing VSync or something like that, which of course with the 3090, you want to get max performance, but I guess if you really need to play this game and you have no other solution, maybe that's something you could try, but I certainly wouldn't recommend any of that. If I hear that a game is potentially damaging my GPU, I'm going to uninstall that game. That's going to be sort of the best solution, so you can guarantee that you're not going to have any issues. Who knows if VSync will work? Maybe there's another little thing that may pop up. So what if you forget to set it on one time that you're going to play? That's something I would avoid completely until they release some type of an update saying that the problem is fixed, or at least sort of see exactly what the issue is. So now, should you be worried if you have any other GPU aside from an RTX 3090? Not right now. From what we can see, at least from the initial reports, it seems to be the RTX 3090 that really is having this issue. Now, it makes sense. The RTX 3090 is going to be pretty much the most powerful GPU. It did have those early issues last year, so who knows if this is some type of remnant of that. And it can also really go high with the FPS. So maybe something is connected to the power draw, the amount of sort of performance that this GPU can put out. So we don't know for sure. We just know that it's sort of limited to the RTX 3090. So all in all, this is definitely very frustrating. This is months since the release, and even though it's a beta game and beta games do have issues, I've never really heard of games damaging GPUs like this before. It never seemed to really happen with the 20 series. I'm sure there are individual cases where it may have occurred, maybe if you overclock or something like that, but to have a game potentially destroy a GPU, that's really not fun at all, because these GPUs are meant to play games. Even if you maxed out settings, the GPU should have its own sort of safety mechanisms in place, or just go up to a certain limit so it doesn't thermal throttle, it doesn't do anything to the power draw. So certainly a very weird and disappointing situation, and who knows if it's tied to sort of the quality control on these RTX GPUs. Aside from that initial incident last year where they reached a certain frequency and GPUs were giving issues, the 3080 and 3090, I've also done a video on the notorious VRAM temperatures of GDDR6X on these GPUs. It basically comes down to terrible thermal pads. Upgrading those thermal pads have netted really impressive differences in temperatures where it really shouldn't be like that. It should come with the factory with the absolute best thermal pads that Nvidia or whatever third-party AIB partner could supply. And to note, a lot of these problems were with the Founders Edition. Even though it's a very fancy cooler, it seemed like the thermal pads really were pretty cheap and not fancy at all. But that can indicate some possible quality control issues. So is that at play here with these RTX 3090 GPUs that are getting destroyed? We don't know yet, but if it's anything like last time, probably within a few days and within a few weeks, certainly, we're going to have much better information. This could also point to other issues in the 3090 in the PCB that may not just be limited to this game. Maybe we can learn something from it that will help save these GPUs in case a new game comes out in the future, or maybe a current game gets some type of update where it really pushes the performance and reveals some type of weird hardware flaw. So we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on this. Let me know what you guys think. If you have a 3090, if you've even played this game. I'm not even sure how many people have actually played it, but it seems to be actually a decent number. If 3090s are getting destroyed by this game, there aren't that many 3090s in the wild, at least not as opposed to something like a 1060 or a 2060 or something like that. So must be enough people actually excited and playing. So before we throw the blame around, if it's going to be Amazon, if it's Nvidia, if it's the 3090 itself, let's see if it gets resolved. For now, I just wanted to make this video so you guys are aware of this issue. If you have a 3090, I wouldn't take my chances trying to adjust any settings or VSync or anything like that. It really doesn't appear to be any other games destroying RTX 3090s like this, at least not for now, and especially if you have an EVGA for the Win 3, even though other 3090s also affected, I would even be extra careful. Alright guys, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.